wrote The Longevity Imperative because I think there's a really important trend that we've all got wrong, that individually and socially we have to adapt and adjust. We hear a great deal of talk about the importance of adapting and adjusting to AI and climate change, all of which are key for our future. But what is also incredibly important for our future is how we adapt to the longer lives we can now expect. In fact, it's sort of obvious, isn't it, that one of the most important things of your future is how you're going to age. But there's something fundamental that's changed, because if you look at rich countries like the United States, United Kingdom and Europe, for the first time ever, the young and middle age can expect to become not just old, but very old. 50% of children born in rich countries can expect to live into their early 90s. And that requires a really fundamental change in how we live our life, because we have to achieve what I call a three-dimensional longevity dividend. We already have long lives, but how to make them not just longer, but healthier for longer? How do we make sure that health span keeps up with lifespan? And also, we need to finance these longer lives. How do we remain productive so we can work for longer, but also engaged and find purpose? In 2016, I wrote a book called The 100-Year Life, which went on to be a global bestseller. It sold over 1 million copies globally. Because, of course, this aging and longer lives is a phenomenon that's affecting everyone around the world. I always say that an aging society begins when you have lots of people who are over 65, and a longevity society begins when you've got lots of people who will live to be over 65. I think since 2016, a number of things have changed. I think partly COVID made us aware of just how valuable health is and how our health affects the economy. I think governments are waking up to this as well. I think governments are recognizing that the majority of people now in work are increasingly older. In the OECD countries, around 80% of employment growth is workers aged over 50. And of course, we're also seeing more and more progress being made around improvements in understanding the biology of aging. And of course, that holds huge prospects for really quite radical future growth, where just as we've been able to tackle other diseases such as smallpox and cholera, which have helped us now have this life expectancy above 70, we're also holding out the prospect that we may be actually be able to tackle the aging process itself. And that's crucial, because as we live these longer lives, it's these aging-related diseases that become our biggest threat. A little bit about what's going to make their career theirs. What can they learn from this job that might be transferable elsewhere? And sort of not be in a hurry, basically. And I think one of the great advantages of longer life is you can borrow some time from the future to use now. And I think it's really key, because if your future life is healthy, then you can do things with that time that enables you to benefit yourself today. It's not all about sacrificing the present so the future can be healthy. And I think one of the great things we're seeing is that people are taking longer to discover who they are, to develop as an adult. I say my father left school at 14 and went straight into a job. He was in a war at 17, he's married at 18, he's got a kid at 19 and a house at 20. Wow, that's a lot of responsibilities. I did that sort of early to mid 20s, and I think, and then part of my motivation for getting into this was losing my parents and looking after young children of my own for the first time. And of course, it makes you think about mortality, it makes you think about the future. And I could see my children behaving very differently from me. And some of that is just change happens. But I think we emphasize technology way too much in influencing the younger generation's behavior. They're coming into a very different world from you. I think one of the big challenges of a longer life, certainly working for longer, is how you maintain your skills. And I think there's going to have to be a big change to achieve that. Educational institutions are really focused on younger people, whereas the majority of the people are older. And if we're working for longer, particularly technological change demanding new skills, we need to find new ways to update our skills. And I think we're going to get that in a number of ways. I do think that governments need to think about supporting education at all ages, perhaps through extending student loan schemes, etc. I think companies have a big role to play here, and I think they will increasingly wake up to this. And we're already seeing that with companies like Walmart and Amazon. And making sure that you blend your workforce. You've got younger people coming through with more up-to-date technical skills who can help older workers who have a lot more knowledge about the market and the firms, and getting them to blend together will be key. You know, what I say to someone who's just entering the workforce today, The first is they've got a lot of time ahead of them, and this won't be their first job. So they've got to think a little bit about what's going to make their career theirs. What can they learn from this job that might be transferable elsewhere? And sort of not be in a hurry, basically. And I think one of the great advantages of longer life is you can borrow some time from the future to use now.